Hi, thank you for joining us today. My name is Namrata, and with me are my co speakers Pallavi and Richa. All of us are content strategy leads coming from India Experience Studio. Today, in our flash talk on AI with EQ, we will be exploring how machines are engineering human experiences. So let's get started, and over to you, Pallavi.
Thank you, Namrata. On this wonderful planet inhabited by 7 billion nice people, there is a 34-year-old Chinese engineer called Zheng Jiajia. Zheng has something most 34-year-olds can only dream of. He's married to the beautiful Ying Ying, who he finds perfect because, well, she speaks less and does exactly what Zheng wants her to do. Zheng built Ying Ying in his apartment. Hashtag bay, more like hashtag burn. Although it's not every day that a man builds himself a wife, Zheng is not the only person to have a robot as a partner. But come to think of it, why would anyone marry a robot? At the heart of every such story, there's always the same factor: excruciating loneliness. In a world that's fast losing its human touch, don't you find it difficult to connect with people at an emotional and mental level? Match wavelengths? As always, technology comes to our rescue. Feeling rejected or dejected? How about finding comfort in a friend who comes with no emotional baggage, never judges, and is always there? Voila. Meet your artificially intelligent companions, the humanoids. Pepper, Milo, or Sophia are socially sophisticated humanoids. They can engage you in meaningful conversations, make you the center of their attention, and even help you deal with loneliness and anxiety. Let's take the example of the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. It has completely disrupted our normal life. Losing jobs, social distancing, and uncertainty towards the future has affected a vast majority of us, increasing our levels of anxiety, stress, and sense of isolation. As meeting friends, family, and colleagues become rare, there are AI powered chatbots such as Mitsuku, Wobot, or Replica that are here to fill the void. They help you be mindful, meditate, and take care of yourself. They make good attempts to alleviate an emotional crisis and offer contact details of counselors and doctors for support. But most importantly, they are always by your side, day or night, much like your pets. Speaking of pets, do you know more people in the UK now own an Alexa or another smart speaker than a pet rabbit? Consider the role of a pet rabbit in offering companionship. We can talk to it when we are lonely and share our feelings, knowing very well that it can neither understand nor talk back. Comparing an actual pet's role to that of an Alexa or other pet robots may seem like an unsympathetic analogy, but it certainly can't be dismissed. Between Paro, the cutest robot toy seal you'll see, and robots that keep Japanese astronauts company during extended space missions, there is a vast majority of people, including the elderly and those requiring special care, for whom these machines are becoming a source of comfort and support. In fact, studies claim that spending time with Paro leads to reduced pill dependency, better sleep, and a bunch of other health benefits in patients with dementia, showing that these machines can provide long term clinical value, which is perfect because given the scarcity of professional help and uber expensive therapy sessions, we may soon have to choose between robots or no care at all. Enter the new age of therapy. Around 450 million people in the world currently suffer from some sort of mental disorder. Computerized therapy programs with limited or no therapist intervention are now available on demand. The internet, smartphone apps, and special purpose robots have made them more accessible than ever. Let's take Now's example. Now is a busy little humanoid who plays soccer, works at hospitals, performs comedy, and even grooms cats. Lately, he has started going to school to help kids suffering from autism spectrum disorder or ASD that affects their behavior and communication. Now repeats instructions, narrates stories, and answers questions as many times as required without ever getting tired, unlike a human teacher. In a world where 1 in 160 children suffers from an ASD, robots like now are shining examples of AI powered humanoids that can make a genuine impact rather than simply dazzling us as the latest technological showpieces. Let's talk about depression. Meet Ellie, a virtual interviewer designed to help American war veterans cope with depression and post traumatic stress disorder. She picks emotional and behavioral cues, facial expressions, and changes in tone to help people calm down, went out during a panic attack. A group of American soldiers were in fact reported to share more symptoms of their PTSD with Ellie than they did on their health assessment form. In fact, instead of feeling shame or embarrassment, they felt at ease talking to her. And this is huge for psychotherapy because opening up is the first step to getting better after all. Then there's Tess, a mental health chatbot designed to offer care to caregivers, helping them cope with the high rates of distress, anger, and depression. Emma, who speaks Dutch, helps with mild anxiety, while the chatbot Kareem, who speaks Arabic, assists Syrian refugees struggling to cope after fleeing the atrocities of war. Speaking to Ellie, Tess, or Kareem may be easier for people who think there is a stigma attached to seeing a shrink, especially those who have experienced extreme violence, a long history of substance abuse, or sexual trauma, areas notoriously difficult in terms of therapeutic intervention. To wrap up my section, advanced technology and deep learning have paved the way for a highly sophisticated AI revolution. And apart from the single AI winter that we witnessed between 1966 and 1997, this field has only seen growth. But if we look at the back-end technology of these bots, we still have a long way to go. Despite their increased sophistication, it would be interesting to see how these humanoids convert subjective human experience into binary algorithms. I'll hand over to Namrata now to take us through the tactics that go into the making of our metal friends.
Thank you, Pallavi. As we move on to explore how machines are engineering human experiences, I'm reminded of my childhood. When I was a little girl, I used to dream of having a friend like Casper, the friendly ghost, someone who is dedicated to me, has all the time in the world, and can do magic. 30 years and many technologies later, my generation now has chatbots, tools created with a single ambition of pleasing us. Humanoid robots such as Han or Sophia are even more sensational due to their human like appearance. There is a lot of debate on whether machines can emulate emotions. The world of technology says it is quite possible. The field of artificial intelligence was founded in a Dartmouth workshop in the year 1956 and is based on an assumption that human intelligence can be so precisely described that a machine can simulate it. Emotional intelligence is not something that we are entirely born with. Small children, in fact, have very little empathy of their own. With time and experiences, we develop frame of references in our mind. How evolved our frame of references are determines our emotional quotient. People who have been into various life situations or struggles or have received, say, better education or mentoring tend to be more emotionally aware than their counterparts. The similar kind of pattern recognition capability can be computed in an AI. Machines build learning algorithms called neural networks based on how a human brain works. In brain, we have neurons that transmit information in and out of our body through senses. Similar way, neural networks have artificial circuits made up of silicon and wire that take the information in and out of them. Architecture wise, these nets are created in layers. First layer is the input layer, from which the data is fed into the system in the form of voice modulation, text interpretation, facial recognition. Second is the data pooling layer or the hidden layer, where a multitude of data is processed to create mapping and recognize patterns. There could be one, two, or more hidden layers depending upon the complexity of the analysis. The final layer is the output layer, which showcases the result of all this data pooling. While the setup of a neural net appears to be simple, the inbuilt processing is intense and time consuming. Neural networks are not code exhaustive, they are iteration exhaustive. What this means is, on the base of a lean code, the algorithm can adapt and create huge training sets and find innumerable patterns. The first chatbot, Eliza, was created in the year 1964 using only 200 lines of codes. It was a therapy bot for teens and was wildly successful for its time. In order to decode human emotions, the AI basically divides the entire emotional spectrum into three parts: cognitive, affective, somatic. Cognitive intelligence is machine's ability to understand emotions. Affective intelligence is machine's ability to process and respond to those emotions. Somatic intelligence is understanding of physical reactions as per the emotional states. Even humans do not have complete and consistent command over all three aspects of EQ, yet they are able to provide each other the much needed support and understanding. So, one can assume that with less than perfect understanding of human emotions, a machine can still gauge our state of mind to a great extent. The caveat is it should be able to process a large range of variables contributing to these emotions. There is a company called EmoShape, the first company to get a patent on emotional synthesis. This company has created something called an emo chip or emotional chip, which can process 64 trillion emotional states in one tenth of a second. These tools can create a higher level of situational awareness in a machine. For example, the AI system I'm interacting with can detect hesitation in me through the modulation in my voice or wrinkles on my forehead, and can change its response all on real time basis. So the success of an AI depends upon how clear is its purpose and how mature is its algorithm. Depending on how an AI partners with people in terms of versatility and performance, we are dividing these machines in four buckets. First is reactive machines. Machines created to perform a specific task. They have no memory of their own and at one point used to be known as weak AI, but now they have many strong successors. One such example is of AlphaGo. It is a computer program created in the year 2015 that can play the board game Go. Board game Go is even more complex and strategic than chess, and AlphaGo has already defeated grandmasters. AlphaGo has now AlphaGo Lee, Master, and Zero as its successor because it has kept on building on its gaming power through intuitive pattern recognition. AlphaGo learned the tricks of the game from humans, but AlphaGo Lee, Master, and Zero, they are learning from their super smart predecessor. Our second bucket is of limited memory machines. These type 2 machines can store past learnings or limited data for a short period of time. For example, self driving cars. Self driving cars can store data around speed, traffic rules, lane rules, etc. But this information is only transitory and is not saved permanently in the car's library of experience, unlike people who build upon their driving experiences over years. The third AI level is of theory of mind. Theory of mind is a psychological concept that says that all living beings have thoughts and emotions that impart them unique personalities. Now, machines built to interact with people must have this awareness. Some elements of theory of mind do exist in robots like Han or Sophia. Sophia, for example, creates a fine illusion of providing us an answer when a question is asked to her. What she actually does is orchestrate a fairly sophisticated program that combines facial recognition, voice modulation, and a huge dynamic database. Her knowledge base is so exhaustive that she can talk physics and sing ballads all in the same breath. But does that mean she has consciousness? No, not at all. Not even original thinking, to say like that. The fourth, final, and the most exciting level of AI development is of self aware AI. At this time, this AI seems hypothetical and is often touted as the superintelligence that can take over humans and turn them into slaves. Sci fi stuff. These Type 4 robots will have the awareness of not just their ecosystem but also of each other, which means they may be able to communicate and create congenial associations with other robots. What all these machines can achieve is a matter of imagination. But industry experts predict that we will start seeing the footsteps of Type 4 AI in next 20 years, which means pretty much in our generation. While artificial intelligence is evolving at an alarming pace, as a society, we are far behind in adapting to it. And this brings us to the monumental challenges machines are throwing at us each passing day. Let's take a look at it with Richa Mohan.
Thanks, Namrata. Before we move on to discuss the challenges of AI with EQ, I want to ask you a question. Can you define empathy? I'm sure each one of us will have our own unique answer. The thing is, if we can't arrive at a single definition of an emotion, how can our creation? In the past decade, many studies have been conducted in the field of emotion in psychology. What has become clear is that emotions are constructed as opposed to being intuitive. They are made up of culture, bias, and upbringing, amongst many other variables. Add to this list ethics and morals, which have an even higher ground, and we can already start to see the problem an AI will face in creating its own emotions. Now, we know that currently ethics of an AI system equals to the ethics of its programmer. So, don't you think? We are still some distance away from the super intelligent future of our dreams. The truth is, till we reach this fabled future, we have to make do with a substandard AI which has ramifications of its own. While there is no denying that bots can engage people, these interactions only scratch the surface when it comes to emotions and relationships. Actually, we ourselves are turning into guinea pigs in a quest to create our metal friends. Considering the difficulty in recreating human emotions artificially, have we ended up with substandard AI tools that do not provide the emotional fulfillment that we are seeking? Meet Replica. Replica is an AI touted to be a personal companion, a chatbot that we can message to or talk to anytime in a safe space without being judged. Unfortunately, it seems not all the results have been favorable or in line with the intention with which it was created. People have had several negative experiences with this bot, including it having information about them that they did not share with it. If that is not creepy, what is? And this is just one example. It can appear as if modern day chatbots can relieve us of our boredom or keep us company. In reality, all they seem to do is feed our ego. But that hasn't stopped people from taking their relationship with some form of AI to another level. Human beings are social animals. How does our social fabric change when we start replacing our friends and even spouses with machines? Does it make us more isolated and maybe even arrogant with all the appeasement that we are subjected to? Now, a crucial element in any relationship is trust. And as we all know, having a sneaky partner or one that does not respect our privacy is definitely a deal breaker. This is true both for humans and now even machines. Are you okay with someone reading your face, mind, or emotions without your permission? I am not. Remember the infamous 2018 Taylor Swift concert where facial recognition technology was used to root out stalkers? Apart from the fact that no permission was taken from concert goers, the company behind it used that data for promotion and marketing, raising multiple privacy concerns. In recent years, fake news and apps like Deepfake or even Alexa have been accused of covertly passing on information to their bosses. All this has resulted in widespread mistrust of technology and its bosses. Another area of concern is bias. Now we know that AI works on algorithm based on data, and the majority of data sources come from a small sample, usually lacking historical and social context, introducing bias into the algorithm. Studies reveal that some EQ analysis technology also assign more negative emotions to people of certain ethnicities. For instance, take the example of ProPublica, an investigative site that found that the criminal justice system in Florida mislabeled African Americans as more crime prone than their other ethnic counterparts. Or for that matter, the hiring AI of a major company, which was in news recently because it gave preference to male candidates over female candidates because of certain terms used in their resume, triggering its inherent bias. Instances like these can make the existing problems of an already divided society even worse. Not to say further making us wary of all things AI. Most futurists agree that AI is a powerful disruption that needs our attention, and that we should get involved in the discussion that's going to shape our future. It is time we have open dialogues and review our skill set so that we are ready for the time when AI is an everyday reality for us. There is no escaping that AI may be backed by technology, but it has socio-political ramifications which are compounded by the introduction of an emotional AI. We do not want to sound apocalyptic. We simply call for more awareness and accountability before serious damage is done. As a leading scientist has commented, we need to reframe the education, research, and dialogue of AI and technology to make it more human centered. The next generation of technologists need to be well versed in political science, ethics, and public policy, not just technology. Finally, it is up to us to ensure that the AI revolution brings out the best of both worlds, technological advancement and human evolution. In the end, it will be interesting to see whether we evolve with AI or just get reduced to a dumber version of our own creation. The aspirational Duix ex machina. Thank you.